G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder with Mags, and today we are not taking out the Tomcat. I know everyone's covering the big cat at the moment, but I'm at least 2 more jets away from starting to unlock it, so it'll be a little while before I have it up on the channel. Anyways, today we are taking out the Vought F8C Crusader 2, listed in the tech tree as the F8U2. The F8U2 is a rank 6 battle rating 10.3 supersonic jet fighter in the US naval tree, and it's pretty heavily armed with quad 20mm cannons and, at least once you have researched them, 4 AIM-9D infrared guided air-to-air missiles. A missile that this poor F100 Super Sabre is about to have a very, very bad encounter with. That said, this was more of his fault than not paying attention than anything else. The AIM-9D isn't a bad missile by War Thunder standards. It's Mach 2.5 capable, which is great. It's got a 5.5 kilometer lock-on range, which is really good, and providing you've got a little bit of speed on at the time that you're launching, you can reliably get kills with it out to around the 4 kilometer mark. That said, it's not a difficult missile to evade. As you saw then, it switched lock from the target aircraft to the missile the aircraft fired. If you have countermeasures, the AIM-9D is going to go sailing after whatever countermeasures you deploy 19 times out of 20. Pretty reliable. If you don't have countermeasures, a sharp brake turn, kill your engines, is likely going to throw the missile off and send it off after whatever else it happens to find that's more interesting. Evading the missile is not difficult if you're paying attention, you just have to be paying attention. The thing to remember is that the missile is rear aspect, so in order for the shooter to be able to get a reliable shot on you, he has to be behind you. But more than that, after he shoots, the missile still has to be behind you in order to be able to track you. So if you can suddenly kill your heat signature and point your engine at literally anything that isn't the missile's seeker head, chances are it's going to miss. But anyways, that's enough about the AIM-9D. We have 3 battles here today, and that's the first one already over. 5 minutes and 33 seconds in total, and the last plane on the enemy team is about to be swarmed like... Actually, with YouTube's new rules, I probably can't make that joke anymore, but you get the idea. You may also notice some issues with the HUD on the left. Gaidrin introduced a little bit of a bug this patch that thankfully has been fixed now, but when it was present, when I was recording, this did cause me some issues. You'll be happy to know that all 3 of my collectives in my fixed-wing fighter are at 0, but your guess on our speed and altitude is as good as mine, which is a little bit of a problem, which I will explain a little bit later on. I was trying to sneak in and join the swarm here at the moment, but he's having a really, really, really bad day down there. And there he goes, and that's it. Mission complete. Alright, so on to our second battle, which I'm going to show in its entirety, and this one, thankfully, we do not have the bug present. In fact, this was recorded the night before the bug was introduced, so only a couple of days ago, and I believe this was my first flight after unlocking the countermeasures. So this is my first flight in the aircraft fully spaded. The climb out here is going to be pretty aggressive, with my target altitude being at around 20 to 25,000 feet minimum, and I'll be turning off my radar as well. My usual play with the U2 is to try and pass over the enemy, roll over and drop in on their 6 from high above at Mach 1+. If all goes to plan and the target doesn't have his head on a swivel, I'll lock on and send them a Fox 2 from just outside of 4 kilometers and already be climbing back to altitude by the time the missile lands. If they spot the missile coming or they spot me before I launch, I can always light the candles and head back to altitude, which leaves me in control of the engagement. And if someone meets me at altitude to challenge my position, I have enough space to usually fight or, if needed, disengage by diving away. It's a pretty basic play, but it's mostly safe and reliable, but it does have some drawbacks. The F8U2 is a really good maneuvering aircraft if flown correctly, however it needs to be kept in the 600 to sub 900 kilometer range to really take advantage of that. Below 600 the aircraft starts to become unstable and wobble, which can make keeping your nose on target difficult, and its acceleration at lower speeds isn't great, so that can leave you vulnerable. Going too fast is worse, but it's not actually a problem of the aircraft, and it's more a problem of the mouse aim. The F8 series was famed for its maneuverability in a dogfight. It's actually got the highest KDR of any US airframe in the Vietnam War. Yes, that's actually correct. The F8 has the highest KDR, not the Phantom. In the Vietnam War, the F8 shot down 19 aircraft confirmed for the loss of only 3 when engaging hostile fighters, for a KDR of 6.3 to 1. The Phantom got more kills at 40 confirmed, but they lost 7 to enemy fire, mainly to the MiG-21, which leaves them with a KDR of only 5.7 to 1. Still bloody good, but not enough to take the title. And part of the reason was the F-8's ability to outturn and reverse on the MiG-21 at speed. When the F-8 first joined War Thunder, it retained most of its control authority at speed. However, the 0 to 100% nature of keyboard controls and the snapping nature of rapid mouse movements meant pilots kept ripping their wings off. Rather than address the shortcomings of mouse aim, instead Gaijin put restrictions on the aircraft under mouse aim control. Once you pass about 1100 kilometers an hour, the control surfaces of the F-8 begin to stiffen, restricting movement. And past around 1200 kilometers an hour, they all but lock. If this happens at low altitude and you happen to be slightly nose down, it will absolutely kill you unless you slam the throttles back to 0, pop the air brakes, and pray that the aircraft slows down enough for you to lift the nose before you lawn dart. So high-speed dives can actually be kind of sketchy. Thankfully, this lockup doesn't happen at all altitudes. It's mainly between around 2,000 to 3,000 feet, depending on the map. So, providing you keep the aircraft higher than that, you should usually be able to pull out. Now, the pilot here saw us coming, smart move, pulled in directly underneath us to force us to steepen our dive. At that speed, that's just asking to die, so we're going to pull out. I'm not turning back on him, using the speed to move on to the next target, beginning my hunt. Oh, in regards to the lockups, it's important to remember that I mentioned that this is something that's under instructor on mouse aim. If you happen to fly on a joystick, you still have full usage of control surfaces at all speeds. This means you can rip your wings off if you're too aggressive, but because you have a far finer and more accurate control on the joystick than you do on a mouse and keyboard, it's much easier to maneuver aggressively without tearing your plane in half. Snapshot the F5 as it goes past, critical hit. Now that wasn't enough to kill him, but that really ruined his day. His maneuvering's down, his aircraft is heavily damaged. You can see I'm much slower on the turn, sitting at just below 1200 kilometers an hour here. I'm deliberately trying to keep my speed that little bit lower. I don't want to pass 1200 because of the lockup, but I do want to keep as much speed as possible to get back and get this missile shot off. So one off on the F5. He's got no ability to maneuver, so he's dead, and second missile away on a second F5. Now this one's going to be a miss. I don't think he deployed countermeasures there. I'm pretty sure he just killed the engine and kicked the rudder, and it was enough to throw the missile off, so good play. Sent one more his way, so third missile launch, and switch target. So we've got a pair of starfighters over here at the moment, and they're heading back in our direction. By the time we run that F5 down, if he manages to kick this missile off, he's probably going to kick the next one, and we're going to wind up within range of his base AAA, and we do not want that. So if he wants to run home, we'll let him run home, we'll deal with him later. The hostile F-104 here has seen us coming in, so he's stopped pursuing our 104. Bit of a gunshot on the merge, missed the target. Roll over 2, drop into a tailing position to go for a missile shot. Now the 104 is faster, but it's not super maneuverable at speed. Still, it is maneuverable enough. Fox 2 at under 2 kilometers, but the 104 sees the missile coming, pulls up as hard as he can at near supersonic, and the missile shoots directly underneath him. So missile defeated, and a little flare there as he drops out of supersonic. So we're on the verge of it as well. We did clip past 1200 meters then. We didn't get the lockup, but we were very close to it. The controls were getting really stiff, and we're sitting right on the verge as we're trying to chase this 104 down. He is faster. He can run away from us if he doesn't turn back. But he has to turn back because he's now running in towards our runway, and I was not expecting the A-10 to bank that way. That was really, really close. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to peel its paint off my wing as I get back. Partial blackout, but I still have control. Shot in the dark, and we managed to hit the starfighter. That was a critical hit. And out he goes. Second kill. And remember our F5 from before? Well, he's back, and apparently he took those 2 missiles we fired at him personally. Comes in for the head-on. Not ideal, but after the turn with the starfighter, I didn't really have anywhere to go, and we do a little bit of a trade. He takes the tip off my left wing, I do the same to his right wing. Neither one of us are down. However, as you'll see here in a moment, he actually came off slightly worse there. While I did lose the tip of my wing, I am still flight capable, and my engines are perfectly fine. He lost the tip of his right wing, but it appears he also took a second unlisted critical. As you'll notice, he starts slowing down from this point. He's much easier to catch. The F5 isn't the fastest machine around, but it's no slouch. And it's around about here that I think his engine died. He used the last of his speed to get a little bit of a pass. At this point, I'm kind of, no, I'm not doing this with an F5. It's more maneuverable and I'm missing a wingtip, so I'm heading back home to land. And he goes into the trees. And so that was kill 3 and the completion of this match. So, a damn good fight overall, and salute to the F5 pilot, going right hard to the end. Well played. And so we come to our final battle in this video, and I can hear my comment section already. Mags, what about the guns? The F8 had the nickname The Last Gunfighter, and yes, you are correct, it did, and you have to admit it's a badass nickname. You can just picture clinking spurs, cracking knuckles, and a hand floating just off the grip of a big iron with this plane. That said, it's not exactly true. The name came from the belief that at the time, missiles had ended the era of the dogfight, rather than the superiority of the F8's guns, something we now know is very much not true. That's not to say that the guns on the F8 should be ignored. 4 centerline mounted 20mm autocannons capable of 1,000 rounds a minute each, giving the F8 the ability to unload its full load of 567 rounds in less than 10 seconds, means that in front of those guns is the last place in the world you want to be if the pilot has an itchy trigger finger. However, historically, over all of the kills recorded in the entirety of the F8 series' lifetime, that's both the F8C, the E, every single model that was released, only 4 air-to-air kills were ever recorded with the guns. Every single other kill that the F8 series ever achieved was with the AIM-9 Sidewinder. The era of the dogfight hadn't ended. The primary weapon of the dogfight had just changed. So, onto our final battle, and as you can see, the number of collectives in our fixed-wing non-helicopter has gone up to 4 now in regards to the bug, but I think the record I saw was 6. I think I had 6 at one point. 6 collectives at 0%, no altitude gauge, no speed gauge, which now you understand the lockup issues with the F8s. You can understand why not knowing what your airspeed is a small issue. So, tried to get a missile lock on the A5 as it went past, no joy, so pull it into the vertical so I can, well, it's going to kill a little bit of my airspeed, but it'll let me roll over, reposition for a dive so I can pick the rear aspect of whichever target I go on. A5 gets taken out directly underneath us. There was a MiG-21 down there for a split second that also would have been a nice target, but he got popped as well. F5 shows up. So, inverted dive. I really need to be in the Tomcat if I'm going to be doing any inverted dives, but hey, we will take it. Going for missile lock, 4-kilometer range. And there's lock, Fox 2. Switch to second target, but if you keep eyes on the first one, you'll see he's dumping flares, so missile defeated. As I said, the AIM-9D is not hard to beat. Couldn't get missile lock, go for the gun kill, and splash 1. 20mm cannon rounds do not require a rear aspect to be lethal. So, nose up, afterburner on, keep the candle lit as we pick up speed and altitude so we can reposition. We've got 2 F5s directly behind us and a Harrier offside as targets. I have to pick between the two. The F5s are the one that I have to go for. The Harrier is dangerous. It cannot be ignored. It is a dangerous machine. But I can outmaneuver and outrun the Harrier. And if I go after the Harrier, I'm going to have 2 F5s at my rear, so the F5 has to be my primary target, even though they are being engaged at the moment, and the Harrier looked like it could have been loose. So you'll notice I wasn't diving directly towards the F5 here initially. What I was doing is diving in behind it and then turning in. This is to drop me into the rear aspect of the target quicker, rather than trying to lead it. If you're going for a gun kill, you want to lead the target so you can get the shells in front of it and the aircraft flies into the shells. With a missile, the missile is going to do the interception of the target. You need to be in the optimal position to launch that missile so that the missile has the highest chance of actually making it to target to do what it does. Different positioning, same philosophy, and this is why the dogfight never really ended. So that was a good launch then, but the F5 manages to throw the missile. Now we do see the Harrier coming back in this direction, go for lock again. Still have 2 missiles remaining. Missile away. Sharp break. Throws the missile. As I said, the AIM-9Ds are not difficult to get rid of if you know that they're coming. It's just a matter of keeping your eyes open for them. F5's turning over hard, so I've just popped the air brakes to slow it down and increase my turn radius. Into the blackout. F5 reverses, follow it through, and you'll notice I'm keeping the air brake out through these turns while keeping my throttle at 100%. I want the throttle up to make sure I'm still generating maximum thrust on the engines, but I'm using the air brake to control my speed and keep myself at optimal maneuvering speed so I can keep up with the turns of this F5. If I allow myself to overspeed or underspeed, he will be able to outturn me. But, so long as I keep it under control, I can stay on his 6 and then, after quite a few rounds and a few misses, take the kill shot, second gun kill of the match, and the final kill of this match. So, the Vought F8U2, or the F8C Crusader 2. I've heard a lot of people giving it a bit of shit, saying that it's not a good plane. I disagree. It's not the best jet you can pick at the pointy end of rank 6, and it's definitely not the easiest jet you can fly. But it's more than capable if you know its capabilities, its limitations, and you fly it to its optimal. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and if you want to help support the channel, please remember to check out my store on Teespring, where I have a number of unique aircraft t-shirt designs, all designed by myself. Until next time, take care.